What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 64. Here with my guy, Bretson. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. I mean, things are heating up once again. This transfer market is impossible to keep up with. I know you did your best last week, but once again, we have a few more surprises for episode 64. So if you're doing good, we should get kicking.
Yes, and
All
please,
right.
people, do not forget to like this video, episode 64. It's a weekly podcast, and we want to see the community going bold on this one. So support us and like this video. Thank you. And yes, let's get to it let's start with the Prem, with Man United. And you said predictions, and I did say Lisandro Martinez to Man United, and that seemed to have gone through, and I'm really happy about that. Erik Ten Hag getting a player that he's familiar with, Lisandro Martinez, a left-footed center back, that ball-playing capability. That's the best thing that he will bring, and United need that desperately, in my opinion. So Lisandro, very good signing. So that's how I gotta start.
Yeah, well, Lisandro, what is it, 57 million euros up front, potential to go up to something like 64. So Ajax is like rolling. They're just rolling in the money right now. I'm pretty sure that they bought Lisandro for 7 million euros only 3 or 4 seasons ago. So that is just a ridiculous profit on Ajax. And the funny thing is, I don't know what they're going to spend it on, but we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later on Ajax. On Manchester United front, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm going to say it right now, though. I'm going to say it right now. I don't know if Lisandro comes in and it's like immediately Varane and Lisandro. I think it's gonna be Maguire and Varane, and now they've paid, at least to start, 57 million euros for a center back that is likely going to be more cover to start.
No. Lisandro starts. It's disrespectful for Lisandro. Like, I know Maguire captain, this, that, and the other thing, but change tactics, do whatever. You pay 57 million for a center back, you gotta start him. Like, I got problems with Erik Ten Hag if that's the case. Like, what?
Well, I hear you, but over who? Who does he start over?
Well, I'm not gonna say Varane, because Varane for me is the best out of the three, but definitely Maguire. Definitely Maguire. Like,
but has he even yanked the captaincy from Maguire yet?
But hey, I think that's something that will happen. But
okay, all right. It is early days. It was just announced. I know we've all been on it. You've been on Lisandro for the last week or two since it started rolling in, and there's no doubt. There is absolutely no doubt that one of the largest problems for I almost said City for United last season was obviously that spine. That spine was just not consistent. Maguire, obviously, pretty horrendous season to the point where he feels snake bitten. I know there was an interview with Scott McTominay the other day where he literally said, "I am so down in the dumps." I don't think he used that particular phrase, but he's so down on what happened last season that he is just so immensely ready to hopefully turn it around.
He has to. He has
to. And it really comes down to the fact that you can't keep using. There hasn't been the clear out that we've been expecting just yet, you know. And to be honest, United played the other day, and Eric Bailly, if he remains healthy, he always looks like a guy that can actually, participate in this resurrection of United. But
good shout.
Staying healthy,
that's a good shout.
Question mark.
But
it is.
That's a good shout. And what you got to say about the preseason? I'm gonna shout out a youngster that I feel like he will get minutes this season, and because of the preseason, he's showing it at Man United. It's Zidane Iqbal. Okay? I am loving the elegance on ball of this kid, and he looks confident that he will stay in the Man United roster. And he's got to be with that talent. So those types of players playing minutes, Elanga, and on transfers with United, I just got to say this. United spent, until now, £70 million with Eriksen, Malacia, and Lisandro Martinez. Those three players for 70 million, it's not that bad, considering they've signed in the past for 85 Maguire, okay? In my opinion, Erik Ten Hag is doing great business at his starts with Man United. And I remember stating in a couple of podcasts before, I didn't think a Frankie de Jong of Fords 80 million would be the best start for a legacy of Man United. I feel like an Eriksen, Martinez, and Malacia gives guarantees that Erik ten Hag wants. He doesn't want mistakes right at the start. And Malacia showed it against Liverpool. He's a player that you put that ball at the left, he will get that, and he will not be the guy to commit a mistake that leads to goal. He gives what I said, again, guarantees and consistency. Malacia. So that's what I'm liking. This is the positive and the style of play. For the first time in a long time, I see pressure. High pressure. And for United, like working off ball was a problem before. Okay, Ronaldo's 37. And he was one of the players that ran the most in that field for Man United last season. So that was a problem, clearly. And now in the preseason, you see Sancho, you see Elanga, you see everyone moving, collectively pressing. Something that I had never seen in a long time at Man United. So Erik ten Hag, little by little. It's a little by little process. So
and you got to add a Rashford in there that looks beefed up, looks ready to go.
Yes.
And we'll see what happens. But I'll tell you what, Ronaldo ran.
Supposedly.
Yeah, Martial. Hey, we'll see. But like Ronaldo last season, he may have ran a lot. He may have run all around, but he certainly wasn't effective. In terms of
come on.
I'm not talking about goals here. I'm talking about on the pressure side of things. He was not effective at all.
He was not the reason why United would lose games.
He was not. Hey, you're jumping to conclusions.
Ronaldo wasn't the reason why.
Hold on. You're jumping to conclusions that I'm saying he's the reason they lost games. I did not say that at all.
Indirectly.
I said he was. No, that's you having a little bit of that Portuguese bias there, understandably. Ronaldo is not, he's 37 years old. He should not be the center of your pressure play. And he should not be, I don't know, maybe he isn't compatible moving forward long term. We don't even know because he's not even part of this squad.
It's still a decision.
Okay?
Well, if you ask Ten Hag, I feel like he disagree with all you said there. So
no, I don't know if he disagrees with me saying that he was very unsuccessful in the pressuring he did.
What?
That's all I said. That's literally all I said. I didn't say that he was responsible for a loss like Harry Maguire was. I'm saying that Cristiano Ronaldo, if you're going to ask for that high pressure play that you are saying right now you like seeing,
he will do that.
Ronaldo, he'll do it, but he won't be successful.
I disagree.
Okay?
I disagree.
I don't.
Because last season,
that's good.
He showed it. Last season, he literally showed it.
Season.
No,
he ran around and had nothing to show for it.
So, in terms of like football IQ in game, so Ronaldo can't press now? You're saying that?
Now you're saying that he can't press, period. I'm saying that he wasn't effective at pressing. That's very different than not being able to press at all.
I disagree.
I'm saying he's not very good at it, and you can find somebody better with a longer time horizon at that front position. And I think Ronaldo as well. We'll see what happens with Ronaldo.
We'll see what happens. But tell us down below, people. Do you think Ronaldo doesn't press? Yeah. Is he the problem putting the press defending? Is Ronaldo the problem, basically, for Erik ten Hag if he stays moving forward? Tell us your opinions. And yes, is there any player do you feel like that's going to come to United? Anything on United front?
I mean, as of right now, De Jong is still up in the air. That's not done necessarily, but I did see, based on what Fabrizio Romano was saying, that there were personal terms, that there was some push forward for De Jong potentially to accept a move, but it's not close to the end just yet. I don't think we spent enough time on the fact that Christian Eriksen, in talking with Ten Hag, does believe in this project. True. I do want to say I feel a little hard done if I'm Brentford. But hey, what can you do there? It's a 3-year deal at United. Eriksen obviously always wanted to get back to a club that maybe was a little more like the Inter Milan or the Tottenham of old that he was starring for. So it's understandable, but you got to feel a little bit for Brentford, because Brentford immediately, not that there were risks involved. They were the ones that got him back on the pitch, got him front and center, got him playing maybe not to his absolute best, but pretty dang close up there and looking good again to where he could land this deal with United. So while I love seeing Eriksen taking that next step again as part of his recovery, he's only 30 years old. I let's give a little bit of a clapperoo to Brentford and that risk that they took, because I don't know who else would have done it. So that's it. And I'm not saying, I just have to, before I get killed in the comments about Ronaldo here, okay?
People will agree with you. Don't worry.
I'm sure they'll agree with me, but what I'm saying is he's not solely responsible for losses, right? I am saying that at 37, and he's only getting older, and he's currently a little bit wishy-washy in terms of, obviously, there are other things going on personally. I just think if you're going to go high press, as you mentioned, you saw progress in their friendly relatively recently, their two friendlies. He's not the best person to have up there. He's just not. Okay, it doesn't mean he's not somewhat effective.
But come on, he's good enough. Yeah. He's better than anything they can get for the same price, or much more expensive. So I feel
one last shout out. One last shout out. I'm sorry, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but you did mention Zidane Iqbal.
Yes.
Right. Great shout. I don't know if it's going to lead to Hannibal Mejbri getting a loan out or what the deal is, but he has looked miles ahead of some of the other academy products that has been seen there. The other one you might want to mention is Charlie Savage. Charlie Savage has looked pretty phenomenal on the ball as well, has dropped some passes out there, so much so that his dad, Robbie Savage, right? His dad was getting deadpanned on Twitter, basically saying, I don't know who your dad is, right, Charlie Savage? I don't know who your dad is, because there's no way your dad was ever able to deliver a pass like that. So it's good on Robbie. It's good on Charlie Savage for seeing that. And hey, United, there's a little promise here. To be honest, now you've got what, 4 center backs? I mean, somebody's got to leave.
Jones, definitely Jones.
Well, Jones is probably going to DC United.
What?
To join Rooney. That's my guess.
He'll be assistant coach afterwards, though. That's the type of
that's a good shout.
What? I didn't know that one. I like that move for Phil Jones. That is the right move. Go to the MLS, Wayne Rooney, climatize to you with a new league. And I like that one. And yes, with Eriksen, I just want to say too, very true, Bretson, that he made a decision between, I think it was Brentford, Tottenham too, and United, and he chose United. So he believes more in Erik ten Hag at United for himself, Eriksen, than a Conte with Tottenham. That I feel like they will be extremely successful next year. But that is another debate. But I want to go to the other side of London, the blue side of London first. And Chelsea. Okay. I got to say, my guy, Todd Boehly is going bold in this transfer market. And Chelsea signed 2 players that, in my opinion, was a phenomenal business by Chelsea, because they got Koulibaly and Sterling for less than 85 million. And that is the money of Harry Maguire. And they got a better center back, and they got an English national team one of the best players, Sterling. Well, so for the same amount. Sporting director.
We got to first shout out to Senegal, because Senegal is going to be a big reason why Chelsea is either successful or unsuccessful this season, because now deep in your spine, you've got Edouard Mendy at the back, and you've got right in center back Kalidou Koulibaly, who started so ridiculously hot last season for Napoli. I mean, so hot. He was one of the studs. I remember we were talking about him pretty much weekly at how good he looked that first part of that Serie A season. And Napoli as a whole kind of fizzled off as the season went on. But Koulibaly, I mean, he's world class. He's world class. He's always been one of their best players. It's amazing to me that Todd Boehly just went in there and got it done.
And it's exciting. It's exciting for Chelsea fans. And the problem was the center backs. No more. You got Koulibaly, fixes the Rudiger departure. And I see the news about Kimpembe. And Chelsea might line up next season with, might line up next season with Kimpembe, Thiago Silva, Koulibaly, and Edouard Mendy. This is ridiculous, okay? And it's much better than last season. So Thomas Tuchel is doing bits. And about Chelsea, I got to say this too. I am a big admirer, and I said Levi Colville. But even Chalobah, you know what I'm saying? Like, the academy, the players will not play, as it seems, if Kimpembe comes. So I want to see where they go. Levi Colville deserves to play in the Premier League as a starter, and I'm really curious to see where he goes next. And my last shout with Chelsea is, who's gonna be next season Mason Mount and Reece James? Are we gonna see the same players as last season, or are we gonna see a step up? Because if Chelsea goes into goes ahead of City or Liverpool, it's with a Reece James going another notch and Mason Mount going even bolder, because Mount has to be in the discussion with a Kevin De Bruyne, and that ain't easy. That ain't easy. So that's my big question that I have for Chelsea. But the signings at the back, Mason Mount will not need to worry. So
no, and yeah, I mean, you covered a lot there. So I want to go back over that center back depth in a second, but let's start with the recency here. You've got Mason Mount, who looked great in that Club America friendly last night. It was way too late for you unless you were up at 3 a.m.
Great goal. I saw the goal.
But yeah, he had a great goal. But then it's funny you mentioned Reece James, because obviously this is not characteristic of Reece James, but he did basically pass the ball into his own net. Right?
I saw that too.
So we know that that's not Reece James, and we shouldn't be like drawing any conclusions off of that. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, that it was funny that Mason Mount and Reece James, that you brought them up. And then last night I did watch some of that game, or over the weekend I watched some of that game. So, but let's go back to that Levi Colville, because you're absolutely right. This time around, Levi Colville, who was great for Huddersfield Town last year, he needs to be in the Prem. And I'm looking all across the board right now, and there's a couple Premier League clubs that would be in the running here that would be great for him. But the one club that really hasn't made too many changes. Well, yeah, Southampton did bring in recently a center back, right? I'm forgetting who it is.
But I'd like to see Tino Livramento, Salisu, Bazuno.
Right. Yeah, and so Southampton could be a place, because they are, in fact,
Brighton.
Academy Raiders. Brighton would be a phenomenal place for him to go, one. And the other place is Fulham. Okay, Fulham is pretty skinny.
I like
pretty skinny. You stay in London.
Yes.
In fact, you're like, the stadiums are like a mile away from each other. Okay, you stay in London, and he's going to work with Tosin Adarabayu. I can't say his last name. You're going to work with some of these players. Like, they need somebody. Paulinho right up the spine. So Fulham would be a pretty good shot, because he'd be in the thick of it. I mean, he'd be in the thick of it, but he'd be where he knows. He'd be, right down the street from Stamford Bridge. So, but you're absolutely right. He's got to stay in the Prem. I don't think he needs to go out of it. And Chalobah, I think, is going to be the odd man out in that he's covered. I think he sticks around. He's covered. And you go from there. And Azpilicueta hasn't left yet.
Well, he will. He will.
I think he will too. But man, I've seen footage coming out of like Chelsea's training and all that stuff, and the guy looks either really happy that he's leaving, or he's really happy that he's staying. I don't know which one it is.
He's happy being there, I'd say. Well, Aspi is, for me, an underrated Chelsea legend. Absolutely. So, yeah, I love how you mentioned Aspi. And I'm going to mention two players here that, for me, it's a doubt. It's a doubt, just like Levi Colville. I want to say to Chelsea fans, say down below your thoughts about all this Chelsea situation, because these are another two players that I don't know what will happen. And that is Armand Broja. I see a bit of West Ham that is going to get done. So, for me, that is a big loss for Chelsea, because where's the strikers? I'd say Pedro said go get Tammy Abraham again. I like that shout. So, Armand Broja for me. Just stay, you know what I'm saying? But West Ham, okay. And the other player is Conor Gallagher. Like, he convinced everyone at Crystal Palace. But is he going to stay at Chelsea? What role is he going to play? Is he going to be a replacement of Mason Mount? I don't know if he will start. So for Conor Gallagher, I don't know. I feel like maybe a loan, or he has to go. So that is another question mark I have with Chelsea.
Well, I mean, I can pile on question marks there, because Billy Gilmore is another name you have to mention. I mean, That guy is just high ceiling that we all thought, and his loan. And I actually blame Chelsea for this. His loan to Norwich City just did not pan out. It just did not pan out. And Norwich just got to the point where they were so deep in a hole that literally everybody on that team had nothing to play for. And Billy Gilmore included. And he also had a tough injury mid-season. So you're right. I mean, I think Conor Gallagher, though, is the guy that we saw. He was an engine. He was an engine for Crystal Palace. And he was their best moment. You put up, 10 of the best moments for Crystal Palace last season. Conor Gallagher's like half of them.
I'd say 9.
So, yeah, I know. But Armando Broja, I mean, it comes down to if you can get 35 million, which for some reason is the quoted number that's out there from West Ham, for a striker that has, 9 Premier League goals to his name at Southampton last season before he kind of fizzled out near the end of the year.
And will play for Albania. He will always play as a striker for Albania.
Yeah, I mean, you do it, but it almost feels like if you're going to spend 35 million on Broja, it feels like for West Ham, it's another Sebastian Haller. Do we actually even know if he fits in our mold?
I love that transfer for West Ham. I'm going to say I feel like West Ham went bold the right way. So put down below, people. Do you believe Armand Broja? If that happens, okay? For me, just stay. Just stay. So I want to say that too. So, yeah, put down below all about Chelsea, your thoughts. And now Arsenal. I want to mention Arsenal because, as it seems, Arteta steals another player for Man City. Gabriel Jesus, and now Zinchenko, okay, that I gotta say. I absolutely love this move for Arsenal. I was surprised that they managed to get Zinchenko, and this shows that he really believes in Arteta, Zinchenko. He must believe in the project, and another reason why Arsenal fans will go crazy with Gabriel Jesus 2 going bold 2 in preseason. I see 3 goals in 2 games. Okay, that is good indicators, but... Yes, the Zinchenko move gives guarantees at fullback that Arsenal needs and at midfield, okay? That's a big doubt always what's going to happen in midfield. But I think if Xhaka plays, I think Zinchenko can be better. I think Zinchenko can be better, in my opinion, than Xhaka. At the very least, we know that some of Arsenal's worst moments last year came when Xhaka was in a period of inconsistency, right? Which is one of his... kind of, I don't know, when discipline starts to get the best of him and whatever, you start to actually lose that midfield. Partey was out for large portions of the year and might be again this coming season. You never know. That was a big...
Tomiyasu was a big hit. Also in the midfield, Lokanga hasn't obviously kind of blossomed as much as they would like him to. And then you have Nuno Tavares and you have Kieran Tierney that have had just injury-riddled... Tierney has had injury-riddled seasons. So the Zinchenko move on paper makes 100% correct. Or 100% sense. And I'm with you. I mean, the guy is what you call a Swiss Army knife, right? He can do a lot of things. He was not a left back when he was signed by Pep for City. But he became one because he basically said, this is my clearest pathway to getting on the pitch for Manchester City. And he forced his way on there. He's great. He's solid. He's improved so much. He's been in pressure situations. Arteta knows him. It's exactly the kind of signing you want when it comes down to it. Even if you start to look at it and say, okay, they've signed Gabriel Jesus and they've signed Zinchenko. They're basically buying all the fringe players of Manchester City. But guess what? It makes sense. It makes sense. These guys, Jesus and Zinchenko, have chips on their shoulder. They want to prove that they start day in, day out, ready to go, that they're main men, but they can also take the back seat if somebody else is playing better for a period of time, and they can act in that versatile role. You know, Jesus on the wing, Jesus up top. It really makes a whole lot of sense, and I'm very, very happy that Arteta is willing to spend this amount of money because when I first saw these projected transfers, I recoiled. I was like, "Oh, you're buying from City. You're buying from a Premier League team. There's a tax involved. But then the more you thought about it, it makes complete sense." So
he ticks a lot of boxes. Ticks a lot of boxes, Zinchenko. And like another thing on Arsenal, I just want to say too, biggest doubt too is how good next season will Saka be? William Smith-Rowe and William Saliba. Because if it's the William Saliba we saw in Liga, we're talking here one of the best center backs in the Premier League next season. So if Arsenal get the top 4, we need answers on these youngsters and Martinelli too. Shout out to Martinelli. Will he be injured a lot of the season? We cannot see that happening if Arsenal are going to beat a team like Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool, and City, the big boys. So, yeah, I just got to say, too, on Arsenal. And Fabio Vieira. Fabio Vieira, do not forget the name. He will go bold, okay? He will go bold.
Yeah.
So.
Well, a fun thing I saw in the friendly results for Arsenal, they're in Baltimore right now, and they spanked Everton the other day. But I loved it when Gabriel Jesus scored, right? He ran over, he did his little cell phone thing, and then he goes like this. He goes, beep, beep, and he points over to the bench, and it's because Eddie Nketiah has co-opted that. He does this when he scores as well. So he was calling Eddie Nketiah on the bench. And, like, that's the type of camaraderie you want to see. You want to see these guys all buying in. Eddie Nketiah, we all thought he was 1 foot out the door. Well, and this guy has already built this extension, this camaraderie, right? Yeah, this camaraderie with Gabriel Jesus, and that's exactly what you want to see. That is true. But I do have to say, there is a little bit of a worry for me at that left back position, because if Zinchenko takes it over, we know Nuno Tavares is probably out the door. He's going. Right? But you have to have a healthy Kieran Tierney for any of this to work. And Kieran Tierney, he had 1 point, right? On all the Arsenal message boards, was being kind of touted as maybe this guy that sometime down the road could have the captaincy, right? He could be a guy that he exuded leadership, he exuded consistency, but these injuries have just derailed him to the point where they're going to spend $35 million plus on Zinchenko and bring him in at 25 years old. Kieran Tierney might not be an Arsenal starter for the foreseeable future.
Well, if Zinchenko does give the guarantees, and that's what Arteta wants with a player like him, and that's why he spends the money he does, because he knows him and he knows what he will bring to Arsenal. And I agree with you about Nuno Tavares, but I did warn the world about this one. And
you did.
It's like Nuno Tavares and Nuno Mendes, different players completely. And Nuno Tavares, I like the move that I see reportedly for Olympique de Marseille, just like Guendouzi and Saliba went well for Arsenal players. I believe for Tavares, it would go well too, and he would learn a ton of defensively positioning. Liga is not as fast as the Prem. It's not as physical, so he would have the time to learn and improve. And at Marseille, Olympique Marseille, they would give him the time that he needs. So yeah, I wanted to say that with Nuno Tavares.
So there's this thing that's developing. Mikel Arteta and Arsenal buys Manchester City's fringe players, and then Marseille buys Arsenal's fringe players, because they obviously just got Guendouzi, and they obviously had Saliba, and they would have loved to have held on to Saliba, but they didn't get the chance. And if they take Nuno Tavares as well, that's good business for Marseille. I just thought that was funny. But hey, this is a great segue. This is a great segue, because I'm sitting here going, okay, you've got Zinchenko probably going to London, to Arsenal, to the Emirates. You've got, obviously, Gabriel Jesus has already made the move. And you've got Fernandinho out the door for City. So you got Raheem Sterling also going to London, right, to Chelsea. Am I wrong in that Manchester City actually has a depth crisis?
No, yeah. You're wrong. You're wrong. In my opinion, you're wrong.
Who's their left back? Who's their left back?
Well, they will get another left back. I think Cucurella is gonna come. But and about the forwards, though, which is Susan Sterling, Haaland, and Julian Alvarez, and on the other player, Cole Palmer, man. Again, I am gonna put my chips on the table on Cole Palmer. I believe he will start to be the youngster that will be a starter or starting a couple of matches for Man City next season that will give minutes to all the squad. That right now it's a problem, I agree, but I believe Cole Palmer will step into those boots. For me, if Bernard Silva leaves City, then we're talking about here, in my opinion, of a depth problem. And I believe City will resolve it. FC Wonderkid, we said it here first. Rafael Leão going to Man City. If Bernardo Silva goes to Barça, there's a lot of assurities that a deal between Man City and AC Milan for Rafael Leão will happen. So, yes, I can... Yeah.
Oh, Barça.
Yeah.
Oh, Barça. But first on City.
Yes.
First on City.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. I mean, there's still 3 weeks left until the beginning of the Premier League season. Although the Community Shield is the week before that, but nobody, or charity, the Charity Shield, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, Cucurella is obviously the biggest transfer target right now at left back, because otherwise it's Cancelo at left back the whole season, or, and I actually am kind of excited about this. I doubt it's going to happen. They actually dip into their academy and give Josh Wilson-Esbrand, who he's somewhat high on, or Juan Larios, an 18-year-old Spanish left back, a little bit of time, or at least some depth behind Cancelo, because the only other left back you have that's essentially, contracted by City or still somewhat on the roster is Benjamin Mendy. And we all know what's going on with him. Or we care.
We have to discard him. Yeah,
reflect on that.
It's not an option. Yeah, unfortunately for Man City and the amount of money.
But what's crazy to me is like Man City, they don't need this money. They don't need this money. So it's like, why are we getting rid of these are massively key depth pieces?
Whoa.
That Pep is. This is higher turnover than I'm used to for a Pep squad, because we haven't even had the incoming beyond Haaland, who is a little bit injury prone. Let's remember, and Juan Alvarez, who has not necessarily played as high of a level right now,
and Calvin Phillips, Calvin Phillips too.
Calvin Phillips is and Calvin Phillips was great for Leeds. It's
and Ortega, if you see Man City's business this season, you wouldn't say they were the champions. They are staying. They want to be the best and stay the best, Man City. And yeah, spending the amount that they did, I feel like it for. So Stefan Ortega, Haaland, Julian Alvarez, and Calvin Phillips. They spend 120 million and 130. Come on, man. Elite business once again, showing to the world this is what you do. This is what you do. Fogo. And yeah, Cole Palmer, and the academy of Man City is doing bits. Bits.
I know.
How much is Foden?
As a money maker.
But how much is Foden? How much is a player like Foden? Legitimately. That pays the academy. That pays the Man City academy. So for me, the turnover is more than great. So and Cole Palmer,
here's the thing.
Too. I really
here's the thing. Why do they need the turnover? Right? If Pep has 3 more years in the Premier League
to win,
you're literally 1 or 2 pieces away. Yeah, but you're 1 or 2 pieces, not 5 pieces away from winning the Champions League. And maybe you need a little bit of a different tact.
But who do they need?
They were shipping off Ake. They're shipping off all of their depth, essentially.
I think he'll
so
stay.
they're riding. He has to almost. They're literally riding De Bruyne as an infallible piece, not getting injured for the whole season. They're riding Grealish having some sort of a step-up season after he has failed to essentially meet his £100 million move to City. So what I'm saying is he's really messing, in my mind. No. He's messing with an equation that is literally 99% complete. They just need to get that other 1%. And there's a lot more incoming that needs to come in to make this team Champions League winnable.
I can almost agree with you, but only one name that you said. If it was Bernard Silva instead of De Bruyne, I'd agree. But if De Bruyne gets injured for Man City, they don't win any Champions League. Just like if Benzema would get injured for Real Madrid, they wouldn't even be past anyone, okay? Even PSG. So there's certain players that are they're untouchable, and De Bruyne for me is that guy. But yeah, they need to keep these other pieces, man. Hake too. I believe they did take a step back, and there's a lot of news that it was more of a Nathan Hake doubt. So I believe, come on, stay, please, stay. I think so that would be the best decision for Nathan Hake, in my opinion.
And I got to go back. I think I said Juan Alvarez. I'm an idiot. It's not Juan. It's Julian Alvarez.
Julian.
If I said
come
that
on. You love
previously,
Julian.
I don't know why.
La
I know
Araña.
I love him, and I don't know why I said Juan Alvarez. But I do have to say, and I'm going a little bit in circles here, and I want to make sure that I state it properly for TikTok, but also for YouTube. I need people to understand, and I got to ask the question: is Pep Guardiola messing too much with the personnel in pursuit of something that he really isn't that far away from getting, and that's the Champions League, right?
He's got to do it.
Raheem Sterling was a massive piece of City's success over the last few years. There is no guarantee that Julian Alvarez is an upgrade to Gabriel Jesus or Raheem Sterling when all is said and done. 5 years from now, maybe. But in the first season, I really don't know. I really don't know. Haaland, obviously, you do that deal every year in your sleep. 60 million for a guy as injury prone as he is. If he scores 35 goals in 20 games that he plays for you, you just better make sure that one of those is the Champions League final. But what I'm simply saying is, in looking at it, it feels like Manchester City is messing too much
Taking a risk
with a roster in order to just get an incremental step that is not too far away. So I'll rest it there. Because,
and I'm going to say too, like the reason why they have to sell players like Sterling and Gabriel Jesus is a player like Grealish that came previously. That was 100 million of investment and a player that is exactly there. And keeping Mahrez is another one that he will get an extension if he stays. So that's why, again, Cole Palmer
31 though.
And Alvarez, I want to say too, I believe Julian Alvarez will get more than 10 Premier League goals at the end of the next season. I believe he will be that guy, and that's what he's got to bring. A backup for Haaland, for those injuries that can occur, because a player like Haaland playing a ton of games will be Champions League, will be Premier League. The good thing about Haaland too is like no World Cup. No World Cup for Erling Haaland, just like the main man at Liverpool, Salah. So for the two giants, no World Cup is a positive for them. So yeah, there's a lot of doubts too. But put down below, people, your thoughts on City. Like, is Guardiola messing up? I'd love to know what people are thinking here. And I do believe a left back will come. So
I hope it's not Cucurella. I want Cucurella staying at Brighton, man. But I want him. He's too much fun at Brighton.
But he's too good for Brighton, I'd say. Sergio Gomez, bring him to Brighton. You said it in the past. I love that one. I'd love Sergio Gomez. It's a risk. La Masia, I know, I get you. But okay, can we transition here? It's La Masia talk. It's La Masia talk. So put down below anything we've missed on the Premier League. And now, whoa, we're going to get to Barça talk. And you know my thoughts on Barça. If you don't, go check on FC Wonderkid YouTube the video about Lewandowski, okay? And yeah, I want to hear your thoughts now, Breton, on the Barça deal. Let's go on it.
I mean, hey, I'm a financial advisor during my day job. So I'm paid to look at things in very practical manners. And I just don't see how any of this makes sense.
Okay.
I get it. I'm a cynic. I'm a negative Nancy.
I get it, but it doesn't make sense.
But it doesn't make sense. I get it, but it doesn't make sense. Exactly. And that's how confusing it is. I am not a Barca hater. I grew up loving Barcelona. I grew up loving the Messi, the tiki-taka years. Those years are gone. You're not going to be able to resurrect them in the same similarity that you had previous to this. What this feels like, though, is, right, and this is what we're referencing. We're referencing Lewandowski's 33-year-old, 50 million plus euros, obviously a Ballon d'Or contender, obviously knows how to score goals, obviously has won Champions League, won everything under the sun for Bayern Munich. Okay, nobody is rejecting the quality there, but you're signing them for like 2 years. And it feels it's
3 years.
Or bust. 3 years, okay.
4 years.
You signed them for 2 or 3 years when, to be honest, you have Aubameyang. You have other pieces that are likely going to have to stay there because you're having more trouble selling people than you are bringing people in, one. And two, the next 3 years, what? Is it Champions League or bust? Is it to win La Liga?
It's to win Champions League.
Champions League. Okay.
Would Aubameyang win a Champions League? Forwards.
They will. Barcelona will not win a Champions League in the next 3 years.
Well, that's your opinion. So
Absolutely, it's my opinion.
I believe
they will not
there's
win
a possibility. I believe there's a possibility. They has to be contenders next season, Breton.
Not.
You don't reckon Barcelona's contender next season for the Champions League?
For the Champions League, no. For La Liga, maybe. But I still
what?
think
La Liga maybe. La Liga maybe. Oh my days! Like they're definitely gonna be contenders for La Liga. And
you're spending 50 million on Lewandowski when you need 50 million for a flipping center back.
Well, they're gonna get Condé. They're gonna get Condé. They're gonna get Condé.
What money?
They've already spent. You said that money in the past. You said in the last podcast that they didn't have money. Rafinha signed. Lewandowski signed. You're saying that again. Condé's gonna be signed. What's next? I believe fullbacks is an issue. Yes, but it's. For contention of the Champions League, they have a core, building core.
It's a grasp for relevancy. It's a grasp to the pass. If I was Xavi, I'd say slow this roll, please. Slow it down.
So make me a team that I can't win the Champions League. What do you mean? I'm trying to understand, like, on the Barça front,
because you're cherry picking all the best of Ousmane Dembele. You're cherry picking all the best of Lewandowski's. Automatically going to go into La Liga and destroy everybody.
Top assist in La Liga with Xavi. Ousmane Dembele. Yeah. The top in assists in La Liga.
He was also injured half the season.
But he might
not even be there for the Champions League final.
But if they make it there. But if he is the top in assists in La Liga, for the money that he brings, that is already good enough, I'd say.
And you're still talking about spending 80 million euros on Bernardo Silva.
Only if De Jong leaves. Only if De Jong leaves.
They already spent the De Jong money.
Well, I say only if De Jong leaves, Bernardo Silva comes in. That's like legitimately. Only if De Jong leaves. That can't happen if De Jong. Because even salary-wise. Well, I feel like De Jong leaves too because the excuse is salary-wise. But it's because Xavi has a plan, Breton. And I'll be honest with you. Well, the plan is to surround Pedri, Gavi with the best players in the world and Ronald Araújo. Like Lewandowski is the consistency. Best goal scorer last season for Barça, scored 13 goals. Lewandowski every season scores more than 40. And in the league, he scored...
In one league.
Well, he scores, like, for 5 seasons straight, he scored more than 40 goals every season. So for Barca, that's what we will bring. And he will lead by example, okay? Players like these, they need someone. And Pedri wants to be in the discussion with the best midfielders in the world. And I do think that will be something that will happen next season, Breton. I feel like it won't be taboo anymore to compare Pedri with the best midfielders in the world, okay?
You're talking about stuff that would be happening anyway, regardless of
Lewandowski. It wouldn't happen with Lewandowski because Pedri wouldn't go far in the Champions League without Lewandowski. That's why it wouldn't happen. Aubameyang doesn't give the guarantees that Lewandowski does. That's a fact.
What? You don't know that for sure.
What?
Aubameyang, you don't know that for sure. You're literally just cutting and pasting one guy that was fed by Thomas Mueller, fed by Joshua Kimmich for 9 years at Bayern, and you're automatically putting him in La Liga and saying because he's done that before, he will automatically do it again.
With Xavi, that style of play, it's immaculate for a player like Lewandowski at the 9. It fits
Who's your back line for Barca?
Okay, who's the back line? If they get Condé, well, Ter Stegen.
No. They're not getting Condé if they're getting Bernardo Silva.
What? Okay, so Breton, you're going so wrong on all this because Bernardo Silva only happens if De Jong leaves.
You're playing
Condé will happen. Condé will happen regardless of De Jong going or staying. That's going to be the case. That's going to... So in 2 weeks or in a week's time, we'll have this conversation again. And just like Rafinha, that's going to happen. And yeah, it's... I don't want to say like... You got your thoughts, I see. You're becoming a Barca fanboy, and that's okay. Barca fanboy? You're becoming a Barca hater. Clearly.
I'm not a Barca hater just because I don't understand how they're balancing their books, period.
But saying a player like Lewandowski... Necessary, man. Necessary.
He's not necessary. He is not necessary for what?
To win the Champions League. Like,
they're not going to win the Champions League with Lewandowski. Cut it. I'll bet it. I'll bet it right now. They will not win with Lewandowski. They will not win the Champions League. I will bet you money right now.
Oh my days. So yeah, bet with the world, I'd say, because yeah, that's it. Like, I believe there's a possibility with Xavi. And I'd say this too, Breton. How long would Xavi stay at Barca without people judging him? It would be 3 years. So it's a bet of Xavi and Lewandowski, okay? It comes in twos. Like, Lewandowski is trusting Xavi. He's leaving Bayern Munich.
So instead of improving the long-term health of Barcelona,
he wouldn't win.
This is all a grasp to maintain the relevancy that was developed by Messi, that was developed by Xavi, that was developed by Iniesta. We have to go back and say we cannot stoop any lower than those particular standards. So it's Champions League or bust, no matter what it costs. What? Yes, Laporta has saved them before. I get it. Laporta has saved them before. Everyone thinks he's going to do it again.
He will.
This reeks of reaching for relevancy that they could get and do so in a much healthier manner. But then again, nobody's asking, either you or I, what's going on.
Oh, they will ask you questions, Breton, because
this is what it feels like to me. Because Barcelona, Barcelona, I don't know how you go from being a poor club to being a rich club just like that, regardless of selling. Regardless of mortgaging your future, selling 49.9% of your media company, selling literally everything that was only made because of tiki-taka and the 10 years you had with Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets,
Barca has a past.
Villa. Of course Barca has a past, but no past as financially rewarding for them as Messi and that bunch, that was that core, that was infallible. I mean,
that's anyone in the world, Breton. That's a phenom, true, but like, on Barca fans, man, do not worry, okay? There is hope on all this. And again,
here's the thing. I am a Barca fan. Here's the thing.
What?
I'm a Barca fan.
No, you cannot say that.
I'm a Barca fan. Building from within like you used to. Right? Building from within for the most part like you used to. Okay, yes, you paid quite a bit for Neymar. You paid whatever.
How much is a Pedri? It's 100 million, like Chouameni. That is
you can sell up your best
and the Barca future. The problem of all this was not getting all these players that they're getting now. The price tags are reasonable. The player that isn't reasonable is getting a Coutinho. Okay, Coutinho for me was the beginning of the problems. Dembele, I'm not going to say it's a problem. Thank God Xavi appeared, because Dembele is going to be worth the 100 million in the next 2 years. And I'm dying to see that, Breton, because you're going to love it if you're a Barca fan. Because that's going to happen. That's going to happen.
If you love Coutinho in his prime,
Coutinho was the problem.
For Liverpool,
Mistake.
Stop 1 second. Stop talking for 1 second. Mistake. Okay. Coutinho, it's a mistake because it's 2020 vision. You're looking at things in the rearview mirror. You didn't know that
was a mistake for Barca. Coutinho was a mistake for Barca.
But listen to this.
Even back then.
You're automatic. I'm not saying he wasn't. 2020 vision is very easy to say that. When they bought him and they spent the money on him, okay, he was at prime for Liverpool. There is no doubt about that.
A ton of
There's no doubt about that. Right now, I'm not hating on anybody. You're literally putting words in my mouth.
I'm hating on the Coutinho.
Right now, you're automatically saying that Rafinha for 65, 75 million euros is already a shoo-in when he couldn't even keep Leeds out of a relegation scrap.
Couldn't even. Right? He was the reason why Leeds stayed in the Premier League. And you can see Jesse Marsh. You can see what Jesse Marsh said. Okay, you can see about that, and he said that Chelsea spent more.
You're literally saying with 2020 vision that yes, Coutinho was a mistake. Coutinho in the moment was not a mistake.
It was.
You're now saying that Rafinha is an automatic success when you haven't even seen him play in a Barca shirt just yet in a competitive game.
And I'll completely
what I'm saying right now is Coutinho was 2 times the player Rafinha was when he was signed for, yes, a worrisome sum back in the day, but you're already stating that Lewandowski and Rafinha was exactly what Xavi needs. Now, you have to sign players. I get it. But when it comes down to it, what I'm saying is there's a lot of revisionist history here going on.
Mhm.
There's a lot of 2020 vision because time has already passed.
Hating
yes,
on it.
It's uniform. Hating on what? I haven't hated on anything. But uniformly, everybody agrees now that Coutinho was a mistake. They did not agree then.
And
they
back
did
in
not
the
agree
day,
then
and we have the
Coutinho
tape.
was signed.
Look at Griezmann, 120 million. Did you think that was the right move at the time? Did you think? I for sure didn't think that was the right move at the time.
There's no way you thought that about Coutinho. There's
What?
no way you thought that about Coutinho.
100% thought that about Coutinho because the moment that happened, afterwards we saw Liverpool getting Van Dijk and Alisson. And
Well,
come
it has
on.
nothing to do with what they spent it on. It has nothing to do with what they spent it on.
No. But what I meant was, is Jurgen Klopp we're talking here. Like,
to buy Philippe Coutinho in the prime,
was the
for that amount of money makes more sense than Manchester City spending as much money as he did to buy a middling, one of the best players, the best player for Aston Villa, but to buy Grealish, right? So yes, things were different back then, but I'm literally just going back to when Coutinho was signed. They signed him at the peak price. They shouldn't have signed him. It's like buying Bitcoin at $65,000. Okay, you think everybody's out there saying this is a great thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then boom, now it's at 18,000 and nobody really wants it anymore. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling 2 or 3 of these signings, or 1 or 2 of these signings of Barca, aren't going to pan out the way you think it's going to, and it might lead to more problems down the way. But hey, if they still have
2 or 3 signings too. So who? Like in terms of like from Lewandowski, Rafinha, Dembele renewal, you feel like one of them will go wrongly?
Absolutely. Dembele's going to be he's going to be injured again. Done.
Love it. So I completely disagree with that. And we will see Dembele getting even more assists than he got last season with Lewandowski instead of Aubameyang. But put down below, people, your thoughts about all this Barca talk, okay? That we can see it's two ends of the talk. And yes, do you agree with more on Breton's side, or you agree more on my side with Barca? Put down below your thoughts about it. And yeah, you mentioned Real Madrid, and you love the business about Real. And true, Real is doing what they got to do to stay on top and to be much more of a difficult rivalry that Lewandowski and Benzema will be next season, getting Tchouaméni, Rudiger, and yeah, Vinicius Jr. I just want to say again, 22 years old now, another year's passed, and I'm dying to see how is he going to be next season too. Are we going to see straight off the bat that world-class player that is ready for the World Cup? So I want to see that with Vinicius.
Right. Mm-hmm. Is this season a flash in the pan? That is what I want to know. The answer to that question is it all down to whether or not Benzema? I do have to ask you. Do you think, with Lewandowski coming in, do you think that he automatically takes over as the best striker in La Liga?
Or Lewandowski is the best striker in La Liga now. Lewandowski. 100%.
Now that's just disrespect.
It is. Well, we'll see. So next season, I actually say 100%. 100%. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm really curious to see what's gonna happen, man. And Benzema. Well, you don't believe Lewandowski?
No, I believe in literally the guy that's been doing it for the last 5-6 years in La Liga. I would take him any day of the week over Lewandowski in a Barca shirt until Lewandowski shows me otherwise. I know that seems like a cop-out, but everything else is just simply saying that it all translates, right? So we'll see. We will see. Obviously, we'll get answers to all of these questions. But when it comes down to it, we're pretty confident that it's a Real Madrid-Barcelona race for La Liga title again.
100%. Yes. Same percent. And like on Real Madrid, I still feel like they have to get another left back too, or like more options on the defensive side too. So yeah, I'm curious to see on that end. But yeah, it's more of a stay on top thing with Real Madrid, and it's Modric another year too. But there's guarantees on that end because yeah, the World Cup does put the players on a high level of focus, and they want to be ready. So I feel like for the older bunch, like Modric, Thiago Silva too at Chelsea, I feel like they'll be more ready in December. Even Pep too. So yeah, it's a good thing.
It is hard to do what Real Madrid is going to have to do, which is everybody's got a target on their back. Why? True. Champions League winners, La Liga winners. Highly unlikely that last season, which was not dominant in any way, shape, or form, happens again. So the some of the fortunate things that came out of that, like, Rodrigo scoring 2 goals in the last 2 minutes of a Champions League game. Those probably won't happen again. So it's going to be all about whether or not they actually have the composition team-wise. And to be honest, I haven't seen a move made aside from Tchouaméni up top. They need depth. They really do need depth, on the wings up top. Because I don't know. So I have questions about Rodrigo. Goodness. Real Madrid. Same way I have questions about Barcelona. What I don't like is the bull and china shop approach to the transfer market of Barcelona, because I'd rather see Barcelona be a viable entity for 10 years time instead of them. Oh, of course I like Pablo Torre, and they'll get Molero. They'll get Molero in the future too, and I'll like him even more. Perfect. Assuming they play him. But when it comes down to it, I'd rather not go from this. Literally, not even 12 months ago, they were basically saying they're the poorest club. They can't do this. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And now we're spending money like drunken sailors. And it'll be interesting, and now there's Spotify Camp Nou. Now they're,
the biggest difference,
all sorts of things you don't want at Barca.
12 months ago, you had Ronald Koeman, that if he was the coach, I guarantee you, Lewandowski wouldn't be going to Barcelona. And now you got a Xavi that has an identity, has a plan, has a style of play that a player like Pedri Gavi will be on top with the best in the world, and that's why a player like Lewandowski will definitely want to be there. So yeah.
Well, there's our segue, because you mentioned Ronald Koeman, and we might as well go. Ronald Koeman's Dutch. Yeah. We might as well go to a league we don't normally spend time on, and I gotta say, Ajax is flush with money. So the question is what are they doing with it after letting Lisandro go, letting Haller go? I mean, you're talking about 90 million euros between the two. Easily.
True.
Right?
True.
And so what are they doing? What are they doing out there?
First things first is when they get Martinez out, they gotta put their chips on Jurriën Timber. Now Jurriën Timber, it's another reason why he's gotta stay another season at Ajax. And I already see the news. I got the name here. Calvin Bassey, okay? That convinced everyone for Rangers in that final. He was unbelievable, okay? Everybody was saying that he was the best thing that happened to Rangers in that final. And Calvin Bassey, in my opinion, going to Ajax, very interesting move for the club, but it's a great replacement for Lisandro Martinez. So I feel like that will be a start. And another player, it's Brian Brobby. Okay, 20 million. I know they released him for free, and now they're buying him back for 20 million. But you regret some things in life, and Ajax did with Brian Brobby, and clearly they must think he's a world-class potential striker. And in this market, that is a big asset in today's market, a striker that scores goals, okay? And he's a youngster. And the blast player, I gotta talk on Ajax, is Chic Conceição, okay, going to Ajax for 5 million. That I gotta say, I totally understand the move for Chic Conceição. You can't hate on this player going to Ajax. He was receiving 2,000 a month at Porto. He's gonna get 1 million a year now at Ajax, and he will be given the star that he can be, not because of his father, that a lot of comments would come, okay? Chico has talent. Francisco Conceição has talent, and that's why Ajax is taking the risk. And for 5 million, what an amazing risk you can do for that. One of the best dribblers in Liga NOS already, okay? Chico Conceição. So, yeah, I love it.
Just shocked that clause was in his contract that allowed him to leave for that
almost on purpose, right?
Yeah, almost on purpose. It's funny. I think his dad had him on minimum wage. Just kidding. No, but I'll tell you what. I mean, the Calvin Bassey move. Okay, he also has versatility. He can play left back. He can play center back.
Yes.
It is amazing to me. He was a former Leicester City academy player that really didn't get his chances there. Decided to hop up to Scotland, up to Glasgow. Rangers was still amidst their kind of renaissance, if you will, their rebuild. Won a title with them. Calvin Bassey has proven to be a massively important piece, just like Joe Aribo, who just also made the move to Southampton. So it is great to see that Ajax is going in there and they're dipping in and they're spending a lot of money to land Bassey. I mean, 22 million up front. Are you ready for this? 22 million up front with the add-ons of 5 to maybe bring it up to 27.
Right.
That is not just the most expensive defensive signing in Ajax history. It is the most expensive defensive signing in Ajax history by a lot. Okay. It's like the most, even with inflation, more than Daley Blind, who signed for Manchester United 4 years ago. It's more than Edson Alvarez. It's more, 3 times more than Lisandro Martinez signing from Defensa y Justicia, I guess, in Argentina. So there is going to be a whole lot of expectation for Bassi, and it's just kind of like when I think about it, and this is not a negative play, but when I think about it again from the practical light, it's like, does Ajax really need to spend 22 million euros on a Calvin Bassi when you probably could get somebody that's just as effective for 7 million?
Well, maybe they couldn't find him. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
Like a player like Lisandro Martinez, like it's. But I agree with you. Like there's doubts with that, and yeah, maybe having a Botman. But I feel like too, it's giving guarantees. Like there's a doubt too for Ajax. It's a new coach.
Right.
Like Erik ten Hag is gone, and Alfred Schreuder, which he won at Club Brugge. Okay, he can give guarantees at Ajax, but there's still a doubt, and they want to bring what's best for the manager. And to be fair, Gravenberch is out. Lisandro Martinez is out. Masrui for free. Haller is out. Brobbey, he has to sign him. Come on, he can't be out. So keep Timber, keep Anthony, give the best team you can for this new manager. And yeah, I feel like Bassi is more of a here you go, we really believe you type thing, you know? So I feel like that must have been something that the manager may have asked too. So I'm curious to see what will Ajax bring on the table, because yes, Gravenberch had 1 year contract left, but they're signing the center back for more than for what they sold Gravenberch. So it's a big investment. So
you could have probably gotten Chris Richards. I'm a little biased here, but you could have gotten him for maybe half the price of Calvin Bassi. And who knows? Maybe they still do, because they've got more money than they know what to do with. And there's only so many youth academy fields you can add to the youth academy there.
And in this talk, we mentioned Francisco Sessão, and I want to put that out there that Fábio Vieira, Vitinha, Francisco Sessão, they're all going okay. A ton of money for Porto, but Olival, it's always good to see. O Olival traz muito talento. And but now Porto is bringing in David Carmo, okay? That for me is a signing of 20 million that Porto know in a year's time they'll sell him for 50 or 60 million, because I'll be honest with you, Breton, at Braga, he already shows sign to play in a Premier League. He already shows sign to play in a top club. It's just because he's at Braga. Just like Ricardo Horta already could play in the Premier League. So going to Porto is just moving as a guarantee for a tall, left-footed centre-back that will play for Portugal too. So David Carmo, people.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm sad, obviously, to see all of these amazing Porto prospects leave for much, I guess, greener pastures for 77.5 million euros collectively, or 80 plus if you count Chico. But obviously there's going to need to be some replenishment there. And there's 2 others that I don't know if you mentioned, but I know that Diogo Leite, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, he's kind of poor form.
I know he wasn't. Right, I know he wasn't part of the future, really, for Porto, but I am really surprised at where he went. He went to one of the best Bundesliga defenses out there, right? He went to Union Berlin.
Oh, he's
on loan, and I think you're going to find him. He's going to fit in really well there, because they're defense first, right? They are defense first, and you might get a Diogo Leite that is a much better version of himself in a year's time if he gets a playing time. Because I know when PSV sent Timo Baumgartel on loan to Union Berlin, he was before he got an injury near the end of last year. He was a much better player by the end of the year with Union Berlin. So I think you should he's only 23, right? I think you should watch him. Maybe he improves a lot. But has anyone checked on João Mario to see if, maybe he's already cleared out his locker? Because I'm a little worried for him.
He's going to stay, I feel like. Yeah, Porto needs him at fullback. Because, he went from winger to fullback, which that was a big up on him. And I got to say, too, like on Porto, just so I don't forget, Chico leaves for 5 million. But there's already a ton of reports that Gabriel Veron is going to Porto, okay? Fourth from Palmeiras, and I gotta say that is a bold signing. And when he comes to Primeira Liga, he will immediately be one of the best players in Primeira Liga. People will be very surprised with him, and I might say, just like Enzo goes to Benfica, people will be saying Gabriel Veron went to Porto because he is one of the best talents in Brasileirão and at Palmeiras. He's not the best at Palmeiras because you got Hendrik. That's but he's already definitely at playing at senior level. He's one of the best. So yeah.
Well, there was another addition to Porto to the Olival setup. You probably saw this, and I think it was agreed earlier, but it was just confirmed, and he's there. He's in a Porto B shirt. But we have to say that Luis Diaz's brother, Jesus Diaz, 18-year-old winger, has joined the setup. I don't think he has the same promise as Luis, but we obviously wish him all the best. And it's a name I'm going to be watching because, man, would that be one hell of a story if Luis Diaz's brother becomes a superstar at Porto, just like his brother before him.
And just staying in Primeira Liga, I just want to put the last shout of Primeira Liga on my end, like Trincão. Trincão went to Sporting, okay? So that's an extra 10 million for Barça. But there's like a hell of a buyback clause there of like 20 million. So if Trincão shows that he's playing really well at Sporting, you never know. So, but I believe for Ruben Amorim, Sarabia goes. Trincão is an excellent replacement for me. Not at the same level, but he can be that guy, okay? So there's still those doubts, in my opinion, with that. So, yeah, I wanted to shout out that transfer because
it's a great one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you what. There are still a bunch of question marks that are out there, though. I mean, we still haven't gotten confirmation on moves yet for Yuri Tielemans, and these are all contract dates that are up in summer of next year. You got Yuri Tielemans, you've got Renato Sanchez, you've got Sasha Kalajdzic, the big 6'7" guy that missed a lot of his season last year due to injury, but has shown glimmers of excitement. You've got Houssem Aouar from Lyon that has not found he was definitely rumored to be on his way out, and I could actually see him going to Leicester City if Tielemans goes to Arsenal. Conrad Lamer, who we're pretty sure is probably going to go to Bayern, right?
Yeah.
And then the big one. This is the big one if he's healthy. Rayon Cherki is getting to a kind of a seminal moment for his career moving forward, and I don't know what this season means everything to him, right?
And
but his contract and Kakare, his contract is up, I believe, next summer. So these are some names that I don't know, man. We got to see something happening if people want to. They don't want any of these players to walk on free.
True,
so,
and if we see Moukoko, what's happening on that end? We see Real Madrid is reportedly wanting to pay 15 million. But Dortmund have to convince him signing the extension. So, that is a headache that they don't want to get into. So, yes, sign the extensions early. No, I'm joking. Shirky must have his doubts, man, on Lyon. Because, Lyon, maybe he wants to go to another place in Liga. And I want to shout out here on the podcast. Last thing on my end is PSG. I got to talk on PSG because, they signed the player that we thought went to Newcastle, Ugo Ekitike. Okay, the teenager that scored the most league goals, okay? And that, for me, is a sign that they are betting for the future. And Luis Campos clearly doing business, getting Vitinha and Ekitike. My only doubt for PSG is, why don't you use Kalimuendo, okay? I see a ton of news, they're going to sell him for 25 million. Come on, once again. There's a shortage of strikers. Just give a chance to someone at PSG Academy. Literally, Ekitike and Kalimuendo, I say they got, potential-wise, it's the same. So it's debatable who's better. And, it could be, you could have that headache. It would be a nice headache to have.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Kalimuendo's... Sorry.
He scored 14 goals. League on goals, Kalimuendo. So it's crazy.
And he's done it. He's done it for 2 seasons now, Kalimuendo. So there's a little more of a actual experience when it comes down to it to being effective in League One versus Ekitike, who broke out for Stade Reims And I think he had, 9 goals, 10 goals, and 15, 16 starts for them.
Yep.
So you're talking about a really, really, really tiny sample size.
True.
Which is why PSG probably went for the loan with the potential to buy in the future. But
Yes.
yeah, I'm with you. Calimundo deserved a shot at PSG. I'm not sure why. With the new regime that's coming in, I would have expected maybe them to look at him a little bit longer before they went to land Ekitike. But I guess that's how many sharks were swimming around Ekitike.
True.
But it's certainly a good shout. I mean, the other shout, you mentioned this last week in League One. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. You mentioned that Bayern is sniffing around Matisse Tell, and there's like a little more like starting to ramp up. But it just doesn't seem right to me that Bayern would spend 25, 30 million euros on an unproven player as ridiculously promising as Matisse Tell is. But what it did get me doing was I went down the rabbit hole of Stade Rennais. And my gosh, they are so laden with youth talent that it is just so impressive to me how they continue to replenish because every one of these guys, Doku, you've got Sulemana, you've got Matisse Tell, you've got Ablin up top, you've got Trefer, the left back, you've got Ugo Chukwu in the midfield. Balokian, I don't know if that's how you say his last name, in defense. You've got these phenomenal talents that are going to be plucked from Rennes. And Matisse Tell is just is scraping the surface of that youth academy. And it just brings me back to nostalgia of watching Ousmane Dembele in a Stade Rennais shirt before, he embarked on his hopscotch of a career so far that hopefully it ends with him dropping 25 assists this season in La Liga, man. I will eat crow. I want him healthy. But Stade Rennais, dude.
Yeah, but
I love it.
It's what you said, like with Matisse Tell. Like if he goes to, just like Dembele did, he went to Dortmund, but he'll stay in the Bundesliga. And development-wise, Bayern is underrated. We see that with Musiala. A player like Davis, MLS, now in the Bundesliga with the world's best. With Matisse Tell, I agree with you, Breton. It's a risk, but I feel like it's a calculated one. And reportedly, they've rejected 22 million Stade Rennes already for Matisse Tell, and they have to 30 million is the new bid that is reportedly said. So 30 million is a big investment for a striker. And the player that I just want to shout out here at the end on me is Kane to Bayern Munich. I legit believe, not this season. This season, he's completely untouchable. But summer 2023, I wouldn't be surprised if Harry Kane tried to push a move to Bayern Munich, which he would win all the titles that everybody's hating. Where's your trophies? Where are your trophies? He would get more than enough trophies at Bayern. So, yeah, and they need a striker afterwards. So, yeah, I feel like they'll change tactics. 3-5-2. Nagelsmann, I feel like they're going to play with 3 center backs, Bayern Munich, and they will try at least to get the extension with Gnabry and Sadio Mane. I believe they will try to line up a couple of games with Gnabry and Sadio Mane, the 2 up forwards in a 3-5-2. I feel like that will be the case. Yeah.
That's going to be tough to play against. True. Wow. Well, there were some other things moving into just general news here.
Yes.
I am just, I gotta say it. I'm pretty excited. I'm not excited that Mesut Ozil has moved on from Fener and already signed for Basak Sahir, but I am excited because you know what it means.
Yes.
Arda Güler time.
Yes.
It's Arda Güler time. At least I hope it does, and I really hope that he is given. It might be too early, but that's okay for me. I hope he's given the keys.
She went to Fenerbahce, man, and I'm telling you, that's the bodyguard of Arda Güler in the pitch, man. William Arau, nobody will touch Arda Güler, man. They will get a hit from William straight away. And Lincoln, watch this player from Santa Clara that went to Fenerbahce too. Very underrated. Yeah, very. George Zouch. George Zouch. I'm Fenerbahce next season, okay? I'm going to say it out there. I love the Wonderkid Arda Güler. Eu adoro JJ. So I am Fenerbahce. And I like William Arau. Flamingista? Nah, so yeah, I like that.
Get this man a jersey. Get this man a jersey. Hey, maybe we have to co-opt the Turkish team this year. Unfortunately, we're going to fight over Fenerbahce because Arda Güler is our favorite. But there's a bunch of Turkish Wonderkids, obviously, to watch. And you know what the most puzzling signing that Fener has made?
Who?
They brought in Emre Mor.
Ooh, yeah, true. He went bold. They went bold with the bold guy.
Like what? Fuck. Like what? You know?
And then went to Barça too. The Turkish youngster. Like that is something that I was like, what? Didn't you get another Demir a couple of seasons ago? That didn't work well with Rapid Wien. But this was different. I believe this one he's got promise too. For Galatasaray. That was a miss for Galatasaray, which we'll end up saying. Seferovic is going to Galatasaray, so yeah, they're helping out Benfica.
He'll score loads. He'll score loads in the Super League. That's for damn sure.
Fucked.
Yeah. Well, it just so there's another player you got to watch in the Turkish Super League though, because he went on loan last season. I forget the team he went on loan to, but he scored like 12 goals in 9 starts, 10 starts, something like that. And he was on loan from a Belgian club. I believe it was Standard Liège over there. And I believe he's oh no, here we go again. Besiktas.
Besiktas.
Besiktas. His name is Jackson Muleka.
Come to Besiktas.
Jackson Muleka. Jackson Muleka. Okay. He is going to be, I believe he's their new man up top. And he is going to score a lot of goals in Super League because he did so last season when he was on loan. I just want to make sure that I got the right team here. Is it Besiktas?
Well, Besiktas, I gotta say, like while you're looking, like Besiktas, I have memories of Besiktas. I remember being a kid watching Quaresma just ripping everyone at Besiktas. And people in Portugal would watch Besiktas because they would know Quaresma would be putting on a show. That Trivela, the show he would put, magnifique, okay? Quaresma. Yeah. The streets will never forget. I will for sure never forget watching him at Porto, man. I fell in love with that player. Like,
to be honest, it's because of Quaresma that I ever even had any interest in the Turkish Super League.
Oh.
The only reason I ever checked in, because for some reason his highlights would wind up on ESPN Sports Center back in the day.
What?
Right?
I love
they were that big, and you're talking about ESPN Sports Center where like Shaquille O'Neal makes a free throw, and they got to have that as the number one play of the day, right?
What?
But they would have Quaresma on there, and maybe it's just the one show I watched that they had because he scored a ridiculous goal. But he was wearing a Besiktas shirt, and I remember just being like, man. Yeah, that's cool.
It was so cool to watch, man. And he was a player that, bad decision, he went to Barça at the wrong time. That they changed manager, and from there on out, he went down the drain. He would go to Barça to Lisbon every weekend on his car. So that's what happened, man. So people, put down below your thoughts about episode 64. A ton to talk about. Put down below in the comments your thoughts on the Barça, on the Premier League transfers, on Bayern Munich, everything, anything that you have your thoughts, put down below. And yes, if you're listening until now, do not forget to subscribe to FC Wonderkid on YouTube so we know that you guys go bold. So thank you for listening until now, community, and thank you for going bold, people.